Hi, I'm Kazan. Welcome back. This is part 2 of how to draw light and shadow. And shadow is exactly what we learned how to draw last time. And this is the result. Now, I want to take a few steps back and we'll take a look at these balls again from last time, so we can figure out how to draw light and also reflection of light. So let's go. Remember the light source we have up here? We will still imagine it's up there, kind of far away. It creates this shadow on the ball and also on the ground, a very vague shadow. Now all we want to do is just add some light to that. And yeah, how exactly would we do this? Well, we have to start thinking in reflections. I'll just show you what I mean. Check out our light rays here. They go down straight, and while they create shadow on our ball, they also actually hit these points here on the ground next to the ball, and they reflect the light back. And from over here too. So how does that actually work? Well, you have to imagine that the light hits this point and bounces that light back. The light will also still come from this source up here. So you have light coming in from both sides. Let's take a look. So you have these two areas, one up here and one down here. And remember that our light source is quite far away. That's why these reflections are not really that sharp. They're very fluffy. And the funny thing is also that you have the ground down here, it's white. And we have this light that reflects from the ground and up on the ball. Let's imagine if that ground was pink. So now that we have a different color on the ground, our white light here is also a bit strange, so we have to change that. We have to change this to pink. And this is essentially what we call color bleeding. So what we actually learned from this is that you always have to consider your surfaces and the distance to your various light sources. And always make sure to keep your light rays in mind. So let's try again. We have this light source that is a bit closer to our object. So considering the things that we just talked about, how do you think it will look like? Well, our reflecting light and our bouncing light both have to be a bit more stronger and a bit more sharper. We already know how the light source creates this bigger, more defined shadow. So, since the light source is closer to your object, it's also closer to the ground, and because of that, your light source will create more bouncing light. Let's compare to the one up here. The one where the light is further away. Let's just take the white one here. Okay, you already see the difference, right? So here you see the exact difference, whether the light is close or far away from the object. Let's take our friend down here. This is the one where we have light shining from behind our object. And we already have shadow covering most of the object, so you can already almost imagine how we're gonna place this light. Let's zoom in. We're gonna be working with something called rim light, and that's when the light hits the edge of your object. And I really like this feature. I like that you get to define the edge of your objects. But notice down here, we have still our bouncing light, our color bleed. When you have your light source behind the object, you basically get to make the front of the object lit up by this bouncing light. So I think that's enough for now. You could also start talking about different colors of light, but it's basically the same principles. And you could also look into if your object is actually glossy or if it's more matte, which would also change how the light would react. But that's just changing all the variables. I think what we've talked about now will really help you on your way. So we are good to go. Let's try and put some light on this character. So first of all, take a look over here on the layers menu. The top layer is our line art. This is where all the black lines are placed. Under this you have shadow and here you have color. Let's create a new layer and let's call that layer light. Good. And then we go up here and we choose our settings for the layer. We're gonna choose luminosity. So what that means is that if you remember what we did with the shadow layer, I'll just take the layer here and you can see all of our shadow consists mainly of gray values. Now that we have this luminosity layer, all of our gray values will lighten up our colors, opposite to when the shadows made them darker. This is what we're gonna use to draw with. Okay, so remember, we still have our light source up here. It shines down, it's relatively close, and it comes in from behind this character. And that's why we're gonna draw some rim light, and we're gonna start doing that up here. And you really have to imagine when this light comes from behind, where will the light hit exactly? And right now it's quite easy. We're just gonna lighten up all of the edges to the right, into the direction of this light. So I think you know what I'm doing here. We can speed this up a bit. Okay, here you can really see how it comes in. Gonna put some rim light here up on the gun, and in here on the arm, between the torso and the arm. I think that's kind of it. Let's make some bouncing light. I'm gonna grab the magic wand tool here, and I have selected our color layer, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start by doing the face. I just select all the color in the face, then I grab the lasso tool, I do a big feather, which means it will be a soft selection, and then I delete most of the selection of the face. And as you see, I go back to the light layer, and then I color with my bucket tool. And there we have it. Nice bouncing light. Let's do a little bit more up here on the hair. Take the magic wand tool, start selecting all the color that we have of the hair. Then I grab my lasso tool and I start deleting wherever I don't want the light to be. And it will be something like this. And then I use the bucket tool to fill out this whole selection. And I need the light layer, of course. And there we have it. It's a bit bright, so I think I'm gonna cut away a little bit of this. It's a bit too much, but you get the point, right? I did give her a little bit too much of this bouncing light, but this is just an example. Let's just say I overreacted a little bit. So I hope you learned something from this. You're welcome to write down in the comments if there's something you don't understand or you want me to clarify. And if you have any good ideas for future videos, please let me know. So, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye!